Ooh, this is a dramatic division.
Yeah, let's start with the reigning division champs, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes.
I think an obvious hole is their secondary.
Yeah.
Patrick Chung and Nate Allen were awful last year.
Where's the ball?
They got rid of Chung. They cut him. They've added Malcolm Jenkins of the Saints. But they still need to bolster a secondary. They gave up 4,900 yards through the air, worst in the NFL last year. And cornerback, they've got guys who can play, but no real stars. They signed Nolan Carroll, and he's going to compete with Kerry Williams, Bradley Fletcher, not household names. They can do better there.
If they can grab a Darqueze Dennard or maybe a Justin Gilbert falling at the later part of the first round, huge value.
What they're probably going to do instead, though, is another whole wide receiver. They, of course, cut Deshaun Jackson in the biggest NFL story of last week, and also got rid of Jason Avant. So they've only got really Riley Cooper and
Jeremy Maclin
coming off
returning from
1 year deal off the ACL tear. And of course, as you know, being the big Chip Kelly fan that you are, they love to use the 3 wide receiver sets.
Yes, they spread people out. They like to use them in different ways, and receivers have to block. Luckily, this year's draft class, very deep receiver class. They're going to get somebody good.
One last note on the Eagles. As with most teams, they're playing in a 3-4 defense. Outside linebacker depth. Trent Cole, not getting any younger, could be a possible cap casualty after this coming season.
And you have to build a defense around that scheme change, which they're not all there yet. All right, next, the Dallas Cowboys of Dallas.
Woo, Jerry World.
So much defense, please.
Worst defense in the NFL in 2013. They need help from top to bottom on that defense, but the secondary probably not the priority. They've invested in that recently.
They've drafted a lot with that secondary.
So we're looking at the front seven, particularly the defensive line. They've lost DeMarcus Ware. They've lost Jason Hatcher. They've lost Jeremiah Ratliff. Anthony Spencer likely to leave. Yes, they've added Jeremy Mincey and Henry Melton, but Melton's coming off the ACL tear. Mincey was cut by the Jaguars last year. Yeah, they could use something to truly anchor a defensive line.
4 games against LaShawn McCoy and Alfred Morris.
Yeah.
They need help up there.
You're going to want to stop those guys. Sean Lee's a good middle linebacker when he's not injured, which is usually doesn't have.
He's bandaged a lot.
Not a lot of talent on either side of him. Ernie Sims, Bruce Carter. Who are these guys?
You're not winning a division emphatically with that front seven.
Linebacker help is nice. And then maybe, with it being a deep draft for wide receivers, maybe look at a replacement for Miles Austin. Des Bryant's going to be, 2014 is his last year with the team under contract, so
it would be the most Dallas thing in the world for them to draft a receiver right here. Oh, God, in the first round. Oh,
that'd be delightful.
That'd be wonderfully awful.
They've got their needs, for sure.
Yes, all right. The Giants, a team who won a Super Bowl recently and then completely fell off a cliff.
If you talk to any Giants fan or anyone who watched a Giants game, the biggest complaint is our offensive line is terrible.
Yes.
And probably the biggest hole in the offensive line, although there are many, I would say center.
Right.
So, yeah, center, but is that going to be your first round draft pick? Probably not.
There's no center value in the first round, right.
Given that Eli Manning has lost his top tight end every year for the last 4 years.
That's rough.
You have to look at maybe Eric Ebron at number 12.
Can we download a plugin for Eli Manning? Maybe can we draft like an interception? Oh, we fixed the interception bug. That's what the big need is there. But yeah, you're right.
But with Eli Manning, with his penchant for overthrowing receivers, a tall guy, a fast guy, a guy who leaps with long arms like Eric Ebron, be a nice, attractive option.
Be enormous for New York. Yeah. And finally, the Washington Football Professional Redskins.
The off-season champions.
Yes. So I don't think they need anything. This is the off-season. What would they possibly need?
What jumps out to me is inside linebacker. You need a replacement for London Fletcher, anchor of that defense for so long.
Right. AARP president London Fletcher. That is. Yes. No. They need all that help there.
So good for so long. And defensive linemen. Their top 3 defensive linemen last year were all in their 30s. They signed Jason Hatcher, who, guess what, turns 32 this summer, and also was kind of a better fit in a 4-3 than a 3-4. So I wouldn't get my hopes up too much on that defensive line if I were a Redskins fan.
The talent level just needs to be up so much. I like Kerrigan, Arakpo's decent enough, but other than that, they need so much up front.
They need some talent on the defense, and then the offensive lineman, they could use a replacement for the subpar Chris Chester at right guard. No depth at center.
No.
What team doesn't need offensive line help?
Maybe, and this is a little bit revolutionary, protect RG3's knees.
No. I want more naked bootlegs.
No, why?
Those, friends, are your NFC East team needs, and that's another episode of Future Consideration
the whole damn thing
in the can. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.